Most people misunderstand the true origin of wealth. They think money begins with work, labor, or luck. They believe that if they hustle harder, grind longer, or wait for the right opportunity, they'll finally access the life they dream of. But the reality is deeper. Wealth doesn't start outside you, it starts within. Your relationship with money is shaped not by your actions alone, but by the thoughts that govern those actions. Every financial result you experience is a reflection of your internal belief system. That belief system is either empowering you to attract wealth or silently sabotaging your ability to receive it. The secret lies in the mindset you carry every single day. A person who constantly thinks about lack, debt, and struggle is unintentionally signaling to the world that they are not yet ready to receive abundance. But someone who walks with the unshakable belief that they are meant to thrive, grow, and prosper without apology creates a mental magnet that begins to pull money into their life. This is not about pretending, it's about becoming. When your thoughts are filled with confidence, worth, and purpose, you naturally move in ways that create financial opportunity. You no longer shrink back from investments, growth, or challenges. Instead, you step forward, you lead, you decide. And in those decisions, doors begin to open. There's a force behind belief that most people never tap into. The mind cannot distinguish between reality and imagination. It only responds to the signals you feed it repeatedly. When you think poor, feel poor, and speak poor, your life bends in that direction. But when you train your mind to expect more, to see wealth as a natural part of your journey, to feel the emotion of abundance before it arrives, then your entire energy shifts. The world responds to that energy. People notice it. Opportunities are drawn to it. You're no longer waiting on a miracle, you're becoming the miracle. And when that happens, money no longer feels distant. It feels inevitable. This transformation begins with awareness. You must become brutally honest with yourself. What do you truly believe about wealth? Do you think you're meant to live in financial freedom? Or deep down, do you carry guilt, fear, or shame around success? Most of these emotions are rooted in childhood, family narratives, or society's programming. You were taught to settle, to survive, to be humble to the point of invisibility. But that programming is not truth. It's limitation, and it must be broken, because until you break it, your actions will remain trapped in a cage of doubt. No matter how hard you work, you'll sabotage your progress with hesitation, procrastination, or poor decisions. But once you shift your inner world, once you claim the identity of a person who is aligned with wealth, everything outside you begins to rearrange. Your mind is the most valuable currency you own. It can either build empires or build excuses. It can attract wealth or repel it. The choice is always yours. Every day, you are programming your future through the thoughts you entertain and the beliefs you reinforce. If you want wealth to chase you, you must think like someone it can't resist. You must see yourself as a vessel for growth, expansion, and value. You must see yourself as a vessel for growth, expansion, and value. And when that vision becomes your standard, wealth is no longer something you chase, it becomes something you draw in effortlessly, because you've become the type of person who commands it through presence, belief, and purpose. Most people spend their entire lives chasing money. They run after opportunities, scramble for promotions, look for shortcuts, and exhaust themselves in the pursuit of something that always seems one step ahead. But what if the real power didn't lie in the chase, but in the shift? The moment you stop running after money and start focusing on becoming the kind of person money is attracted to, everything changes. This is not about fantasy. This is about energetic truth. People who chase often do so from a place of fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of missing out, fear of staying broke. But fear is a repellent. It sends out a signal that you are not in control. And when you don't feel in control, you give away your power. But the moment you switch from chasing to attracting, you take that power back. To attract money, You must carry something money desires, and that something is value. Real, inner value that radiates through your thinking, your confidence, your execution, and your ability to solve problems. Money flows to people who can create solutions, take risks, and lead with vision. It avoids those who act from desperation, who beg, who compromise their self-worth in exchange for short-term gains. That's the difference between someone who lives paycheck to paycheck and someone who becomes a magnet for wealth. One is reactive, always trying to catch up. The other is intentional, knowing they don't have to chase because their value speaks louder than their voice. When you act as though money is already drawn to you, your behavior changes. You speak differently, you walk differently. You stop begging for opportunities and start creating them. You stop trying to be seen and begin owning your presence. This shift in mindset is not arrogance, it's alignment. It's you stepping into the truth that wealth follows those who believe they are worthy of it. You don't need to chase, you need to become. You need to raise your frequency, upgrade your standards, and operate from a place of inner power. When you do, money doesn't just notice. You make it impossible to ignore you. Your financial reality will never rise above your sense of self-worth. This is the silent truth most people avoid. They want more money, but they don't believe they deserve it. They desire abundance, yet feel guilty when it starts to appear. That inner contradiction is what keeps them stuck. Self-worth and net worth are not separate. They're reflections of the same mirror. If you believe you're only worth surviving, then survival is all you'll ever experience. But if you dare to believe that you are worthy of prosperity, growth, and unlimited expansion, then your actions will start to mirror that belief. You'll move differently. You'll say no to what drains you. Then look up. You'll walk away from people and environments that suppress your potential. That shift alone is magnetic. When a person knows their value, they stop settling. They no longer chase cheap opportunities or underprice their skills. They understand that wealth doesn't respond to effort alone. It responds to alignment. You can work endlessly, but if your inner voice whispers that you're not enough, you'll unconsciously sabotage your own growth. You'll avoid the big leap, reject the raise, procrastinate on that business idea, or stay in environments that limit you. That's not laziness. It's a worthiness wound. Until you heal it, money will feel distant. But once you reclaim your worth, your external life begins to reflect your internal transformation. You start walking into rooms like you belong. You start asking for more because you know you bring more. This is not about arrogance or entitlement. It's about claiming your place in a world that only gives power to those who believe they deserve it. When you believe you are worthy of wealth, you no longer operate from fear. You make bold decisions. You show up fully. You don't shrink to make others comfortable. You expand unapologetically. And in that expansion, money sees a home. Because money doesn't follow people who feel small. It follows those who know they are more than enough. The deeper your self-worth, the stronger your wealth foundation. You don't earn more to feel worthy. You feel worthy first, and earning more becomes inevitable. Your identity is the foundation of your financial destiny. Until you change how you see yourself, you will keep repeating the same financial outcomes. It doesn't matter how many goals you set, how many affirmations you recite, or how many opportunities pass through your hands. If your identity is rooted in limitation, your results will stay limited. Identity governs behavior. It tells you what's possible, what's safe, what's realistic. Most people try to change their finances without changing their identity, and that's why they keep getting pulled back. Deep down, they still see themselves as struggling, broke, or undeserving of luxury. And life never exceeds the story you tell yourself about who you are. When you see yourself as poor, you unconsciously reject abundance. You resist taking the steps that could lead to wealth. You filter out high-value opportunities because they don't match your inner narrative. But when you reprogram that identity, when you start saying, I am a person who builds wealth, I am someone who handles money with wisdom. I am worthy of abundance. Then everything begins to shift. Your decisions change. Your posture changes. The risks you're willing to take change. You no longer make choices from survival mode. You operate from vision. You no longer cling to what's familiar. You stretch toward what's possible. You must build an identity that is aligned with the future you desire, not the past you've endured. That means cutting off the old stories, the inherited beliefs, and the emotional patterns that kept you small. That means deciding on a soul level that you are no longer available for the version of you that plays safe, plays small, and plays broke. Step into the version of yourself that commands wealth, not with arrogance, but with certainty. Live, think, and act as if your success is not just likely, but inevitable, because once your identity is aligned with abundance, you stop chasing wealth and start embodying the kind of energy that wealth naturally follows. You don't wait for permission. You don't wait for luck. You become the kind of person who attracts everything they used to chase. You cannot change your financial life until you rewire your subconscious blueprint. This invisible program is running every decision, every reaction, and every financial result in your life. Most people are not poor because of a lack of effort. They're poor because of deep-rooted mental patterns planted in childhood. These patterns silently whisper in the background. Money is hard to get. Rich people are greedy. I'm not smart enough to be wealthy. Or, I don't deserve more. These aren't just thoughts. They're emotional truths that live in the body and guide behavior. Even when a person consciously desires more, if their subconscious believes it's unsafe or impossible, self-sabotage kicks in. That's why success feels like a struggle. You're not just fighting external obstacles. You're battling the programming inside your own mind. Rewiring begins with awareness. You have to observe the patterns without judgment. Catch the thoughts that surface when you think about money. Do you feel anxiety, guilt, or fear? Do you shrink at the idea of asking for more? These are signs of a corrupted money blueprint. Once identified, these thoughts must be replaced, not just intellectually, but emotionally. Repetition is key. Speak the new beliefs daily. Feel them fully and act on them boldly. Say to yourself, wealth flows to me because I create value. It is safe for me to be rich. I attract opportunities aligned with my highest purpose. Over time, your subconscious begins to adopt this new standard, and when it does, your actions align effortlessly. You must also feed your mind with new mental nutrition. What you read, what you hear, who you listen to, these all influence the coding in your mind. Surround yourself with abundance-driven information. Think of it like reprogramming a computer. Garbage in, garbage out. But if you input power, purpose, and clarity, your life begins to mirror those qualities. Don't underestimate the power of this transformation. Because when your subconscious is aligned with wealth, you don't have to force success. It becomes your natural state. You stop overthinking every move. You stop fearing failure. You start flowing with confidence. That's when money begins to chase you. Not because you begged for it, but because you became the kind of person it's drawn to. Scarcity thinking is a silent killer of dreams. It's a mindset built on fear, limitation, and survival. It convinces you that there's never enough time, never enough money, never enough opportunities. And when you live in scarcity, you act small. You hesitate, you cling to comfort. You make decisions not from vision, but from fear of losing what little you think you have. But abundance thinking is different. It's a mindset rooted in trust, creativity, and expansion. It knows there is always more money to be made, more opportunities to explore, more impact to create. The difference between a wealthy mind and a broke mind has less to do with circumstances and everything to do with perception. When you believe in scarcity, you compete. You feel threatened by others' success. You hold on to what you have with a tight grip, afraid that the universe won't replenish it. This fear-based energy repels wealth. But when you embrace abundance, you collaborate, you share, you invest in yourself and in others. You stop seeing money as something to hoard and start treating it as something that flows through you. Abundance thinking opens your eyes. It helps you see solutions where others see problems. It helps you take risks with wisdom instead of fear. It invites growth because it believes there's always space to expand. To move from scarcity to abundance, you must challenge your assumptions about money. Every time you say, "I can't afford this," you reinforce a mental ceiling. Start asking, "How can I afford this?" Shift from shutdown to strategy. Stop saying it's too expensive and start thinking, "How can I increase my value to match it?" Abundance is not just about money. It's about energy. It's about walking through life knowing that there's more than enough for everyone, including you. That belief changes how you show up. It changes the energy behind your actions. And that energy is everything. Because money doesn't chase those who think in lack. It flows toward those who see the world as full of possibility, full of power, and full of wealth waiting to be claimed. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Where you place it determines the direction of your life. Whatever you focus on, you give power to. If your thoughts are constantly revolving around what's missing, what's wrong, what you lack, you're feeding scarcity. And scarcity grows when you nourish it with your attention. But the moment you redirect that focus toward wealth, growth, and opportunity, something shifts inside you. You start seeing what others miss. You begin to notice patterns, chances, and ideas that were always there, but previously invisible to a distracted mind. Wealth doesn't just require strategy. It requires focus. Unshakable, deliberate focus on what you want, not on what you fear. Most people waste their attention on fear-driven thoughts. They obsess over bills, debts, inflation, or the competition. They scroll endlessly, comparing themselves to others, feeding their mind with anxiety disguised as information, and then they wonder why success feels so far away. The truth is, you can't build an abundant life while pouring your focus into what drains you. Your mind is like a lens. If you don't control it, it will magnify everything you don't want. But when you train it to zoom in on opportunity, value, and solutions, you start experiencing more of them. What you think about consistently becomes the filter through which you see the world. That filter shapes your actions, and those actions shape your financial reality. If you want wealth to flow into your life, you must discipline your attention like a master. Eliminate distractions, starve your doubts, feed your mind with thoughts that serve your vision. Every day, ask yourself, what am I focusing on right now? Is it moving me closer to abundance or deeper into limitation? Redirect your mind like a GPS whenever it drifts into fear. Pull it back toward growth. Pull it back toward belief, because wealth flows where attention goes. And if you can master this one habit of guarding your focus, of choosing what gets your energy, you'll notice something incredible. You'll begin to attract more of what you're focused on. And if you're focused on prosperity, on value, on building something greater, then wealth won't just arrive, it will stay. If you want wealth to find its way to you, you must begin to behave like it already belongs to you. This isn't about pretending or putting on a fake image. It's about embodying the energy, habits, and decisions of the future version of you who already lives in abundance. Too many people wait until the money arrives before they change. But life doesn't work like that. Wealth doesn't come to those who wait to feel worthy. It comes to those who decide they are worthy first. Your current mindset and behavior are a signal to the universe, a declaration of what you believe is possible. If you live in hesitation, doubt, and scarcity, you push wealth away. But if you act with confidence, purpose, and discipline, even before the evidence appears, you attract it. Start making choices that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. If the wealthy version of you wakes up early, sets powerful intentions, invests wisely, and speaks with clarity, start doing those things now. Don't wait until your bank account grows. Let your actions lead your transformation. Embody the version of yourself who handles money with wisdom, who walks into every room with a sense of certainty, who builds, creates, and elevates. When you behave like wealth is already part of you, you send a message. I am ready. I am aligned. I am prepared. And life begins to respond. This is not about recklessness. It's not about spending what you don't have or forcing an image you can't sustain. It's about shifting your inner posture. Carry yourself with a sense of abundance. Speak about your future as if it's already unfolding. Think like a person who doesn't worry about lack because they know they are the source of value. That mental and emotional embodiment is what separates dreamers from achievers. You don't get wealthy and then become someone new. You become someone new, and then the wealth arrives. Act like you belong in the rooms you're aiming for. Move like the money is already on its way, because when you behave in alignment with your future, that future starts to behave in alignment with you. Wealth is not only a matter of thinking and action, it is deeply emotional. Your emotions are not just reactions, they are frequencies, signals that either attract or repel the life you desire. You can have all the strategies in the world, but if you are emotionally disconnected from abundance, if you feel fear, guilt, shame, or unworthiness around money, it will slip through your fingers no matter how hard you work. Emotions are magnetic. They carry energy that moves faster than thought. That's why two people can do the same thing, say the same words, and take the same steps, yet one succeeds effortlessly, while the other struggles endlessly. It's not just what you do, it's how you feel when you do it. The emotional energy behind your actions determines their power. If you want to attract wealth, you must become emotionally aligned with it. Feel peace when you think about money, not anxiety. Feel joy when you receive, not guilt. Feel gratitude for every small financial win, because that gratitude expands your capacity to receive more. The more emotionally neutral or positive you become around the idea of wealth, the more natural it becomes in your life. Wealth is not for the emotionally conflicted. If you subconsciously associate money with pain, pressure, or punishment, your nervous system will reject it, even if your conscious mind begs for it. This is why inner work is not optional. It is essential. You must cleanse your emotional field from every past experience that taught you money was dangerous, dirty, or divisive. You must forgive yourself for past financial mistakes, release the shame of what you didn't know, let go of the fear that you're not enough, and then choose emotions that support your vision. Practice confidence, certainty, and joy, not just when wealth appears, but before it does, because your emotional state creates the invitation. The calmer, clearer, and more grateful you feel, the more open your channel to abundance becomes. Wealth responds to alignment. And emotional alignment is the bridge between who you are now and the financially free version of you waiting to emerge. Mindset without action is potential wasted. Discipline is the bridge between your thoughts and your reality. It's the structure that transforms your beliefs. You can believe in abundance, visualize wealth, and speak affirmations all day long, but if you don't take consistent, aligned action, those dreams will dissolve into frustration. Wealth does not show up just because you want it. It shows up when you prove you're ready for it. And that proof is found in your daily habits, your decisions, and the standard you hold yourself to when no one is watching. Discipline is the silent architect behind every fortune. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it builds the foundation that wealth needs to stand on. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when the excitement fades. It means saving when it's easier to spend. It means learning when others are distracting themselves. It means showing up for your goals, even when no one is clapping. This is where many people fall off track. They want the life, but not the structure. They want the result, but not the repetition. But there is no freedom without structure. Wealth is attracted to consistency. It is sustained by habits that elevate, not ones that drain. When you master discipline, you separate yourself from the masses, because most people only act when they feel like it. The wealthy act because they've committed to it. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce your belief in your own power, and that belief is priceless. Because once you trust yourself to follow through, you stop waiting for external validation. You stop doubting. You start moving with certainty. And that certainty is felt by everyone around you, including the people, opportunities, and resources you're meant to attract. So if you truly want to shift your financial reality, stop asking for motivation and start building discipline. Show up even on the hard days. Keep going even when results are invisible, because wealth doesn't come to the person who wants it most. It comes to the one who is willing to build the habits that invite it daily. You must become the kind of person money can't resist. This is the final shift, the deepest transformation. Not someone who begs for it, chases it, or idolizes it, but someone who naturally attracts it through who they are. You don't do this by trying harder. You do this by becoming better, internally, emotionally, mentally. You become more valuable, not just in what you offer, but in how you think, how you move, and how you lead yourself. Money responds to energy, and the most magnetic energy is certainty. Not arrogance, not desperation, just quiet, focused, grounded certainty that says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, I know what I'm building. That kind of presence cannot be ignored. When you step into this version of yourself, your life starts to organize around it. People treat you differently. Opportunities find you, not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. You're no longer playing the same game as before. You're not waiting for a break. You're becoming the break. You're not sitting around hoping to be discovered. You're discovering yourself, and in doing so, revealing your power to the world. This is what wealth responds to. Not noise, not neediness, but presence, depth, value, and consistency. You must decide that you're done with smallness, done with playing it safe, done with shrinking in rooms where you were meant to rise. Start speaking with more clarity. Start thinking with more precision. Start walking through life like your dreams aren't just possibilities, they're promises you're fulfilling, one step at a time. Because when you carry that energy, you don't have to scream for attention. You don't have to convince anyone. Money moves toward you. People move toward you. Impact follows you. All because you chose to become someone wealth can't ignore, someone who embodies purpose, value, and unshakable belief, not just once in a while, but daily. This is the mindset of wealth, not a fantasy, not luck, but the deliberate decision to evolve into the person you were always meant to be, the one money chases, the one success belongs to,